My name is Emily. I've been married to Daniel for 5 years. We live in a small house by the lake, surrounded by peace, laughter, and love. Daniel is a quiet man, but he always makes me feel safe. Every morning, he brings me coffee before I wake up, and every evening, we sit together and watch the sunset. I believed we had the perfect marriage. I never imagined there could be secrets between us. Our days were calm, almost too calm, like a story that never changes. But one morning, while cleaning our bedroom, I found something I had never seen before. It was a small leather-bound book hidden under Daniel's drawer, his diary. And from that moment, everything I thought I knew about my husband began to fall apart. I remember holding Daniel's diary in my hands, my heart beating fast. I knew I shouldn't open it, but curiosity and fear took over. My hands trembled as I turned the first page. First, it was just normal things. Notes about his work, his thoughts about our home, small details of his day. But as I read further, the words became darker, heavier. He wrote about someone else. Her name appeared again and again. She understands me in a way Emily never could. My chest tightened. My hands went cold. Was he talking about another woman? Or was it just a misunderstanding? I didn't know what to believe. That night, I couldn't sleep. Every time Daniel smiled at me, every time he said, "I love you," I heard those words from his diary echoing in my mind. The man I trusted most, the one I thought I knew better than anyone, suddenly felt like a stranger. And for the first time in 5 years, I felt truly alone in my own home. The days that followed were filled with silence and confusion. I tried to act normal around Daniel, but every smile felt forced. Every touch felt heavy with doubt. At night, I lay awake staring at the ceiling, wondering when my life had started to feel like a lie. I couldn't stop thinking about that diary. Maybe there was more, something I had missed. One afternoon, when Daniel left for work, I opened it again. My heart pounded as I read page after page. Some entries were old, written before we were married. But then I found one recent note that broke me completely. Sometimes I wish I could tell her the truth, but I can't risk losing her. Tears rolled down my face. What truth was he hiding from me? Who was she? My mind filled with terrible thoughts, betrayal, secrets, maybe even love for another woman. I stopped eating properly. I avoided friends. I even called in sick to work because I couldn't face anyone. I spent my days searching for signs, his phone messages, his late returns home, his distant eyes. But in the middle of all that pain, something inside me changed. I realized I couldn't keep living in fear. I needed answers. No matter how much it hurt, I had to know the truth once and for all. One evening, as rain tapped softly against the window, I sat at the kitchen table holding Daniel's diary in my trembling hands. My reflection in the glass looked unfamiliar, tired, broken, and full of unanswered questions. I knew I couldn't keep living in this silence anymore. When Daniel came home that night, I looked straight into his eyes and said softly, "We need to talk." He froze for a moment, realizing I already knew something. My voice cracked as I placed the diary on the table. "I read it. I just want the truth." For a long time, he said nothing. Then finally he whispered, "You deserve to know everything." That single sentence filled me with both fear and relief. Whatever came next, I was finally ready to face it. No more secrets, no more pretending. Daniel took a deep breath before speaking. His voice was low, filled with regret. He confessed that during a rough patch in our marriage, he had grown distant and confided in another woman from work. It never went too far, he said, tears welling up in his eyes. But I shared things with her that I should have shared with you. Each word felt like a knife cutting deeper into my heart. The silence between us grew heavier with every passing second. I wanted to scream, to cry, to ask why he hadn't just come to me. But instead, I just sat there numb. I was scared, he continued. Scared of losing you, scared of being honest. Hearing those words, I realized this moment would define our future. I could choose to walk away, or I could choose to fight for the love we once had. My chest tightened as I whispered, if we rebuild, it has to start with the truth. Daniel nodded, tears falling freely now. It was the hardest conversation of our lives, but also the most honest one we had ever had. The days that followed were not easy. Trust, once broken, doesn't heal overnight. But Daniel and I made a promise to rebuild slowly and honestly. We started attending marriage counseling together. Those sessions were painful at first. I had to confront my anger, and he had to face his guilt. But through every tear and every difficult conversation, we began to understand each other again. Outside of counseling, I focused on rediscovering myself. I started painting again, something I had given up years ago. Each brushstroke became a small act of healing. Daniel supported me in ways he never had before, not with grand gestures, but with presence, honesty, and patience. Over time, I began to see a change. The walls we had built between us started to crumble. The laughter returned slowly but sincerely. We were no longer pretending everything was perfect. Instead, we were learning to love each other, flaws and all, for the first time in a long while. I felt peace, not because everything was fixed, but because I have found strength in honesty and forgiveness. Looking back, I realized that love is not about perfection, it's about patience, truth, and growth. Life will test us in ways we never expect, but every challenge teaches us something valuable. I learned that forgiveness doesn't mean forgetting. It means choosing peace over pain. If my story touched your heart or made you reflect on your own journey, please like this video, share it with someone who might need hope today. And don't forget to subscribe for more emotional English stories. Thank you for watching.